Hello and welcome back to Old Truthford, the home of honestly biased sports content. Here is today's match reaction to Manchester United 2, Brentford 1. Now, a lot of people didn't give us a chance in this game. A lot of people had seen our form over the past few weeks and they were doubting us. Well, who's doubting us now? Yes, we may have gone down 1-0 very early. Almost at the same time that we go 1-0 down every single game. 25th minute, first half, 1-0 down, predictable. But what wasn't predictable was the spirit of Manchester United coming alive. And that was embodied through an academy player that has been written off more times than I can count. And that player was Scott McTominay. All rise for Scott McTominay. No, not just Scott McTominay. Sir Scott McTominay. Viv, I see you. Ilmi, I see you. Tonight we feast. Tonight we feast on this win. Because when we look at the league table, had we not won this match, it was looking bleak. I'm not going to lie. Top 4 would have been very scrappy and our title challenge may not have started. However, when we look at the league now, Manchester United are on 12 points and Tottenham, league leaders, are on 20. An 8-point difference between us and the top of the league. Now, is it a big challenge to ask to topple the top of the league over the next few months? Yes. Yes, it is. But can we really do it when all of our players come back from injury? And the answer is yes. Yes, we can. If anyone can, Manchester United can. And this is what we are made for. Scott McTominay, the player that was written off. The Scottish, now I must highlight Scottish player that was written off. The academy player, the boy who has been at the club since he was, I don't know, probably around 9. Let's go with 9. For him to be the one to come in and score 2 goals in Fergie time at such a pivotal moment in the league, at a time when Sir Alex as well, who's been hit with such terrible news that his wife of 56 years has sadly passed away. Sometimes you can't put your finger on how these things actually happen, but they do, and they're meant to happen. And this is one of those things where Scott McTominay has that aura about him. As much as people have told you we need to sell him, he's not good enough to be a squad player, he wouldn't play in League 2, Scott McTominay has that aura about him. Was he shoved in at CDM because we just didn't have the funds to sign the players like Casemiro or get Amrabat or of any player of that ilk? And the answer was yes. Yes, Scott McTominay was shoved there, and that's what he had to deal with. Now we're seeing Scott McTominay used in a different kind of area of the pitch. We're seeing him further up. Ten Hag, as much as people obviously have their opinions on him, he made an excellent substitute to bring on Scott McTominay and play him further up the pitch. Absolutely. You can't criticise him. You can't criticise Scott McTominay. You can't criticise Erik ten Hag after today's match. And Onana's blushes were obviously saved by the one, the only, the McTerminator, McSauce, Scott McTominay, Sir Scott McTominay, the Scottish unicorn, as his friends call him. You just can't write it. You just can't write it. And that's why we support Manchester United. Cost, I see you in the chat. Herman, how's it going, man? Eshaw, we looked better when Casemiro got subbed off. There isn't someone trying to ping balls first time from midfield. McTominay, yeah. I think the momentum was always going to be with us in the second half, so it's hard to say if we looked just definitively better with Casemiro off the pitch rather than him on, because we were always going to put that pressure forward. But it's definitely something to look into, because people are starting to... The Wolves and the pitchforks are starting to get sharpened for a few players. And we're looking at Onana, we're looking at Casemiro. Rashford getting subbed off as well. I mean, Garnacho was lively on the left wing. He was turning players. Sometimes he would lose the ball in situations where he really should have maintained possession, but Garnacho was looking good as well. It's a hard one to decipher who really should be dropped and who should not. I don't think Mount had the best of games, and if I'm being honest, Mount getting subbed off as well we didn't look any worse when he came off. Nick, from all the players, I didn't think it would be McTominay that saves us. Not only McTominay, we need to give him his flowers. Harry Maguire got the assist for McTominay's second. We can't forget that. Harry Maguire. He played a vital role in that goal. And arguably, other than McTominay, with Maguire picking up that assist, he may be co-captain of Man of the Match club for today's match. So shout out to Maguire as well. You've got to give him his credit. Herman, sorry to say, mate, but no Rashford on the field. We played better. I don't think Rashford had a very good game today. I think people will blow it up out of proportion, because I don't think, in all honesty, none of the forward three particularly had a great game. Like, Højlund was fairly missing that game, in my opinion. Just as much as Rashford. So Rashford will get highlighted because he's yet to really kick on this season. Højlund got a couple of goals in the last match, but both of them really, I think they were a bit meh. Let's see what you got to say here. Man, imagine 120 plus 20 minutes at the Wembley versus Real Madrid 2-2 and Evans assists Maguire for a header goal. Oh, inject it in my veins, Cost. But it is on our own goal. Oh, Cost, why did you have to do that to me? Eshaw, what do you think is wrong with Onana? Is it his body mechanic? Mate, I don't know. People were saying that he's connected to the Wi-Fi and it's lagging. Who knows what's going on with... You can never really put your finger on it when goalkeepers make a mistake, because yeah, it's like it's just concentration, maybe. Is that what you can push it down to? Nick, fighting his way back to starting 11 and all the power to Maguire. Yeah, he's risen up to the occasion. He's not cost us goals in the last 2 games. So shout out to Maguire. Fair play to him. As for player ratings go, I'll just do these now. So first I'll do my addition, and then I will do the Discord's addition. I saw somebody, who was it? Viv, is there any way to join the Discord? If you follow me on Instagram, so Old Truthford on Instagram, and then drop me a DM, I'll get you in the Discord, okay? And that's for anyone who wants to join who's not already a part of the Discord. So Onana, mistake. I think he played slightly better in the second half. He made a save. I think the ball was directly going towards him. So even though he made a save, he made it look a bit more dramatic and a bit better than it actually was. Still made a save, nevertheless. I will give Onana... it's a hard one because it's his third mistake, so I don't want to be too critical. Fortunately, his blushes have been saved. I will give Onana a 4.8. He did make saves. He didn't make any mistakes following that. But yeah, I'm going to give him a 4.8 because he could have very well cost us 3 points there. Okay, so for Sir Harry Maguire, I'm going to give him... Other than the Onana mistake, he should have really kept a clean sheet. So I think he was fairly decent in defence, to be honest. I think he was solid. Got the ball forward, got the assist. I'm giving Maguire 7.2. I think that's fair. Evans as well, fairly decent at the back. Didn't really make too many mistakes. I'm going to give Evans, let's have a look. Going to give Evans a 6.7. Just above average. I wouldn't say the goal was his mistake either, so I think it was slightly above average. Delo, I think Delo had a fairly good game. I'm going to give Delo a 6.9. Lindelof, pathetic clearance, which led to the shot on goal from Brentford, but Onana completely spilled. Lindelof, I don't think that was a good performance from Lindelof. I'm giving Lindelof a 5.9. If you've got to share the responsibility out, I think Lindelof was originally to blame for that chance, but Onana just blew it up, so then it completely turned into a goal. Let's have a look here. So for Casemiro, it's a hard one. He gave that sloppy ball away, but midfielders can do that. It's just highlighted if we concede from it. So I'm going to give Casemiro... I do think it was below average, though. I'm going to give him 6.3. I don't think he was terrible, but he was below average of what you'd expect. Amrabat. Again, Amrabat didn't really do anything to impress. I can't think of anything where I thought was a particular highlight of his. I'd say I'm going to give Amrabat a solid... Going to give Amrabat a solid 6.4. Yeah, I don't think he did anything too impressive. Mount, I think he was fairly anonymous. I wouldn't even know if he was playing or not. I'm going to give him 5.9. Let's have a look here. For Fernandes, I think he turned it on in the second half. I think first half was a bit meh, but second half he was really turning the screw to create these chances for us, and was keeping hold of the possession very well. So I'll give Fernandes I'll give him a 6.9 as well. For Rashford, did he have any particular highlights? I can't think of any. I don't think Rashford really turned up. I'm going to give him a 6.1. And Højlund, if we're being honest, Højlund didn't do anything that game. He wasn't really active in anything that we were doing. I think he was just there. So I'm going to give Højlund 6.2 for me. I think he was making better runs than Rashford, but again, didn't really do anything. So let's see. Now we'll move over to the Discord player ratings. Oh wait, I'm going to do the subs as well, sorry. So even though I need to create a proper... slide for the subs, which I will prepare for the next stream. Scott McTominay, 93rd and 97th minute. I can't stop looking at it. It's just beautiful. I'm going to turn this into my screensaver on my phone. Okay, so Martial did absolutely nothing. Not much to talk about there. Probably give him like a 6 or whatever. Eriksen, I think he was fairly decent. I'd give him slightly more, so I'd give him a 6.3. Garnacho was lively. I'd give him a 6.5 coming off the bench. Anthony, he also Anthony provided a lot of energy into that team. Like the difference of having him on the right wing to Fernandes and having like an actual right winger who runs down the channel provides so much more to the game. So yeah, Anthony, I'll give him a 6.4. I think he was very good defensively and offensively. And McTominay, well, McTominay is clearly getting a 9.5. Like, what more do you want from him? What more could he have done to have a better game? McTominay easily man of the match. Let's go over to Discord ratings now. So it'll be interesting to see what people gave Onana, because I don't think there'll be a lot of leeway for him. Okay, so the average score for Onana on the Discord was a grand total of 2.3. So yeah, I'm not going to argue too much against that. Onana, we know he can do better, so just poor from him, really. Cost. No, Scott is a 10 out of 10. The reason I'd give him 9.5 is because I want him... I don't know. To be fair, I don't even know why I wouldn't give him that. I don't know, maybe you could argue that... Nah, actually, you're absolutely right, Cost. I'd take it back. Scott McTominay, 10 out of 10. You can't ask for more. You can't ask for more. What a legend. Now, Maguire, this one will be interesting. So he has picked himself up a score of 6.1, which I think is a bit low considering he got an assist and like the goal wasn't really his fault. I think that's a bit harsh on Maguire. Now, Evans, he has picked himself up on average from the Discord's ratings a 5.5, which again, I don't think is necessarily his. Like the goal we conceded wasn't really Maguire or Evans' fault. I'd put the blame more on Lindelof. So I'm interested to see what scores people actually gave Lindelof to see if this reflects. Let's see. Lindelof picks up a 4.4. 4.4. So that's at least good to see. So people are holding Lindelof accountable for that. For Delo, let's see what we got for Delo. Well, Delo picks up a 4.8, which is not favourable at all. I thought Delo was involved in one of the goals towards the end. I thought he did pretty well there. Crosses are still a bit meh, but we're making do. Making do with Delo. Casemiro. Let's quickly move over to you, my friend, and see what the Discord have rated you. I don't think he's going to get the highest of scores, if I'm perfectly honest. A lot of people think that he's looking a little bit leggy this season. And from the looks of it, giving that pass away was costly. So Casemiro has picked himself up a 4.3 rating. Yeah, not the best. Not the best from Casemiro. Amrabat is picking up a 5.7. A respectable 5.7. I think it was a decent game, not amazing, not blown away by it. Mount, I do not like his odds of getting a good score here. 4.5. Okay, so Mount did pick up a better score than Casemiro, which I find interesting. I don't necessarily agree with that. Now, Rashford. What are the people saying about you? So Rashford has picked himself up, if my calculations are correct, a 4.7. Which again, I think is a bit harsh, but in comparison to the rest of the scores, it's understandable. I can see in comparison from my player ratings to Discord player ratings, they are roughly around the same rate. So Maguire's highest rating. Let's see for Højlund, who really I thought had a pretty quiet game. I didn't see him too involved in too much. Let's see what people voted for him. Okay, I think Højlund's definitely a fan favorite because his scores. I mean, somehow Højlund has picked up a 7.4 without getting a goal or an assist. So I think people are there's a bit of simping going on for Højlund if I'm being honest. Fernandez, let's see what you have got, my friend. Okay, so Fernandez has picked himself up a 5.9 rating, which puts him as the second highest behind Maguire. Yeah, I think other than the Højlund rating, which seems to be a massive exaggeration on what he actually impacted today, all of the ratings seem to line up. So we've got Onana, I gave him a 4.8. I think the mistake cost us. If the mistake had cost us for points, then I definitely would have rated him lower. But yeah, I think his performance overall, he just needs to work on his concentration. Evans and Maguire, some of the highest ratings here. I give him some of the highest ratings as well. I give Deleuze slightly higher on average, more than people did. I don't think a lot of people rated Deleuze's performance there. For Lindelof, 4.4 over here, 5.9 over here. Yeah, I think Lindelof, just poor. He's not a left back, but it was just poor anyway with that clearance. Pretty much created the chance for Brentford. Casemiro, I gave him 6.3. You guys gave him a 4.3. Definitely not his best at the moment, but I think people are being hypercritical. Amrabat, 5.7. I gave him 6.4, so that's pretty close. Mount, 4.5 and 5.9. Yeah. Rashford, Højlund, and Fernandes. Of the front three, I gave Fernandes the top score, Højlund slightly above Rashford, but then them two pretty much the same. Whereas Fernandes got a high score, Rashford got a low score of 4.7, and Højlund somehow picked up a 7.4. Again, I don't know if any of you guys in the chat were voting for Højlund, but 7.4 seems a bit crazy to me. But yeah, those are the player ratings, all done. In terms of the instant match reaction, I think it was just, what can I say? I mean, I think it was just a beauty to behold. Everyone was out. Everybody was dropping like flies watching the match. They couldn't believe a comeback was on the cards. And yet, Manchester United, the greatest team to have ever played the beautiful game, come back with a bang. We are now 8 points off the top of the league. Nobody in the league has had to put up with the amount of injuries we have. And yet we still plucked out a win. All I can say is the Scottish spirit of Scott and Sir Alex lives on. Thank you all for joining me, and Godspeed. I'll see you on the next one.